right you are. This is Simon Townsend's Wonderworld. The episode number is 393/2. The XD number is 1129. Record date the 22nd of the 4th, 87. The transmission date TBA for Melbourne, Sydney, Brisbane and Adelaide. And this is the last show, A Piece of History in Television.
The 1961st and last show.
If you believe anything can happen, if you believe anything is possible, then you belong with me. So let your mind run free. If you believe we're all a little crazy, if you believe in giving everything your best, then you belong with me. Let your mind run free. Welcome to the wonder world. Welcome to the wonder world. Welcome to the wonder world. It's the world we live in. If you believe there's life inside of a ball, if you believe that dreams are there for those who try, then you belong with me. Let your mind run free.
Hello and goodbye. Welcome to my Wonderworld for the very last time. After 8 years and nearly 2,000 episodes, this show is the final episode. And I feel sad today because Wonderworld has been so much a part of my life, and it's something that I've always been so terribly proud of. But of course nothing goes on forever, and it's been a fabulous 8 years, and I've loved all 2,000 of these shows. And today we're going out with a bang. No tears, just some smiles as we go on a nostalgia trip. And we're better to start a nostalgia trip in the last show than to go back to the very first show. Let's just have a peek at a younger and slimmer and a very nervous Simon Townsend introducing the very first edition.
Rockets in flight, afternoon delight, afternoon delight, afternoon delight, afternoon delight.
Hello and welcome to Wonderworld. I'm Simon Townsend and I'm pleased you've joined us. Welcome to the first ever edition of this, a special kind of TV show for very special people. To our first story. There's an English painter, a lady who paints tiny little portraits. These paintings are of famous people, except the person's face has been replaced by the face of, believe it or not, a mouse. Apparently they're called mousterpieces. Reporter Angela Catern scampered down to the exhibition of these odd works of art.
say it's quite a pleasant surprise to come into a normally straight, high-class sort of an art gallery and find a picture of Queen Elizabeth I with a mouse's head.
Yes, well, this, of course, is Rita Greer. And Rita Greer thinks the same, I think, as most Sydney art dealers, that we seem to have got away from the true feeling of art. Now, art should do nothing else but make you feel good, make you feel happy. So what she's done, she's got the world's most famous masterpieces, reproduced them in miniature, and as you see, she's put a mouse's head on them.
Why a mouse's head, I wonder?
Well, I think because mice look very human. They've got these large eyes, and she can... Well, for example, you look at Rembrandt. Now, she's really caught the expression of Rembrandt in the eyes there. And then Elizabeth I, Queen Elizabeth, she's even got rings on the fingers and long fingernails and things like that. So, this is what she's done. In other words, it's for fun. Pictures should make you feel good, and I think they're quite a giggle. Look at this stuff. That looks like Katrina Lee. Do you think so? And this one, I think, is a bit like Simon Townsend, too. Sort of got that way of looking down his nose, you know, this is Simon Townsend.
Talking about all these mice so much and working so closely with them, you don't think it's affected you in any way, do you?
Affected me? In what way? Don't think so. Had some cheese.
Masterpieces. It was a great first story in the very first program. And from that day, we went on to make nearly 8,000 individual film stories. And today's last show now takes a turn as we look at the history of Wonderworld. And this film report is in 3 parts. It's uninterrupted by me here in the studio, but I'll be back at the end of this documentary-style report as we answer the question in the last show, how did Wonderworld start?
Gonna take a sentimental journey.
Simon, is that dog your dog?
How do you dream up the ideas for all those film stories?
How do you get to be a reporter on your show?
Simon Townsend is frequently asked the same kinds of questions by fans of Wonderworld. But perhaps the question with the most interesting answer...
How did Wonderworld start?
How did we start? Well, it was back in 1972, and I was a newspaper journalist, and I was working on this paper, and on Sundays it had a children's page. And one of the jobs that I had to do on the newspaper was edit this children's page. And I was absolutely fascinated by the hundreds and hundreds of letters that children used to send in every week. And one day I said to my best mate, a guy called Joe Morris, you know, Joe, somebody should start up a newspaper just for children. And Joe said, why don't we? So we did. And it was a national fortnightly tabloid, 20 pages every 2 weeks, just for children, and it was called Zoot. It had stories and contests, puzzles. It even had free lift-out games as centrefolds, and had lots and lots of contributions from our young readers. Anyway, after a year, I sold out my half share in Zoot to my partner Joe, and he carried on the paper for some years. Anyway, by this time, I'd become totally fascinated with television, and I wanted to become a current affairs reporter on television. Mike Willsey gave me a job on the old current affair program. You know, I was a sort of foot-in-the-door type reporter and interviewer. And then Willsey's show closed down, and I was wondering what to do next because I'd had this wonderful experience of doing something worthwhile and entertaining for children through the newspaper, followed by this experience of daily current affairs type television and making film stories out on location. And putting those two things together, I suddenly dreamed up the idea of Wonderworld. Anyway, that was 1973, and what I invented in 1973 is pretty much what you see now. I think the first name I had for the show was The Ripper Report. Then it was called simply, I thought of the shortest title I could, and we called it simply X. Anyway, one day I was standing outside SeaWorld in Queensland, and I was looking at the logo and I thought, you know, I should use the word world, W-O-R-L-D. I should use that in the title of the show. So I'm standing there and I'm saying to myself, I wonder what I could add to the word world. I wonder. Suddenly, Wonderworld.
Gonna take a sentimental journey to renew all memories.
it was, I think, 1974, and the Australian Film and Television School gave me a grant to go and study children's television in America and England, and I went overseas for a while. And then when I came back, the Australia Council gave me a cash grant, and I made the first pilot of Wonderworld. That was for Network 7. And I wasn't even the host in those days. It had, the first pilot of Wonderworld had 3 hosts, and they were also the 3 reporters on the show. But the sad thing was that 74, 75, 76, nobody, not one of the commercial channels, not even the ABC, wanted Wonderworld in those days.
But Simon Townsend never lost faith in the idea of a national daily current affairs style show aimed just at children. He went on working in television for various Mike Willesee shows, for This Day Tonight on the ABC. He even worked in radio as producer to John Laws, and all the time trying to get Wonderworld to air. Meanwhile, Simon turned Wonderworld into a comic strip.
You are 1,000,000 seconds old at about 11.5 days, 1,000,000 minutes old at about 1 year, 11 months, 1,000,000 hours old at about 114 years, 29
It appeared in the
days.
Woman's Weekly for a long time. It was a kind of Ripley's Believe It or Not comic. The famous Wonderworld logo, comprising a stylised version of Simon's real signature, and the bold metallic-looking capitals of the words Wonderworld! Were first developed as the masthead of the comic. Then, a second pilot of Wonderworld, with Simon appointing himself the compere. It was made for 9, but they turned it down, and another 2 years ticked by. Suddenly, new rules about children's television became law, and every commercial network was looking for new children's shows. Ian Kennan, head of Channel 10 in Sydney, took one look at the old Wonderworld pilot and he snapped it up. The first show went to air on September the 3rd, 1979, almost 8 years ago and almost 2,000 episodes ago. During that time, Simon won a prestigious Advance Australia Award for his outstanding contribution to children's television. He also won a Star Award for Best Children's Series, and another award was given at a private ceremony at the Prime Minister's office. The 1,000th episode of Simon Townsend's Wonderworld, awarded to Simon Townsend by the Prime Minister of Australia, the Honourable R.J. Hawke MP, to mark a singular achievement in television excellence.
Well, I guess I'm really proud of all of those awards, but I think I'm proudest of all, I'm most proud of the Logies that we've won, because a Logie really is the most prestigious television award in Australia. And we won our first just 4 months after we started, and I was bursting with pride. And then year after year after year after year, we just kept on winning Logies. But I tell you, look, honestly, the thrill of it never wore off. Logies have made me immensely proud of what I and my whole team have been doing. See, I've always had the one fixed role, except for when I've been injured or, I've been away overseas. I've compared virtually all of nearly 2,000 programs, and I've always been, Simon Townsend, that's the compere of the program, I've always been the one constant thing in the program. And of course, Woodrow was terribly important in the program. You know, poor old Woody, he wasn't very bright and he never really did much, but he was fantastically lovable. I loved him, and our viewers absolutely adored him. You see, Wonderworld has always been based on 2 things. It's been based on information and entertainment, or as they say these days, infotainment, combining the 2 words. But we always mix it around. We say it's entertaining information or it's informative entertainment. We make great use of music, with our music clips. Use music in the film stories, of course, and mostly with words that match the pictures.
And Wonderworld has always had this incredible involvement with our viewers. You know, they send me hundreds and hundreds of photos every day, and they write me news and letters about themselves all of the time. You know, a lot of the credit for the very clever way we edit films, you know, credit for that belongs to the film editors. And we've always used top cinematographers and really top sound recordists. And we've got all these clever people behind the scenes. And I tell you, I've been lucky. I've had 3 brilliant producers. A guy called Alan Lowry, who's very successful in England now. He kicked the show off. And a guy called Brendan Ward, a top current affairs man. He's the current producer. But my longest-serving producer was Harvey Shore. He guided the show for nearly 6 years. But I think the single most important element in the success of Wonderworld has been the reporters. And in 8 years, Wonderworld has been served by 17 reporters. Adam Bowen, Angelica Turns, Sandy Major, and the extraordinary Jonathan Coleman. They were the original 4. You see, the reporters were always seen to be having fun and usually learning something. They were not just reporters. They were television personalities and stars in their own right. Let's see, we had a whole lot of other reporters. There was Hugh Piper, he was terrific. And there was the wonderfully bubbly Alita Faye, and Maury Powell Parker, good old Morris Parker, and the lovely, lovely Sheridan Jobbins, and one of the zaniest reporters, Malinda Rutter, and the brilliant, geez, he was a funny guy, Phillip Tanner, and the terrific Edith Bliss, with that wonderful blonde hairstyle. And talk about hair, that brilliant red hair, Wednesday Kennedy, and of course the extraordinary Brett Clements, wonderful filmmaker, and Hugh Munro, a terrific reporter, and then Carolyn me, it's me again, she always said, and Moira McLean, gee, I'll never forget her, and of course the shortest serving reporter, our final and last reporter, Tim Vincent. And let me tell you something, it's always been the sheer power of the personalities of those 17 brilliant reporters. That's what has carried Wonderworld on its wave of success for so long.
Hello. It's not what you think, you know. I used to be a bank manager, but I suddenly did this makeup course and my whole world changed somewhat.
Puppy, come on, in back, in back.
Look, I am not a dog, I am a man. This is only stage makeup.
Written, directed and produced by Morris Parker, sound Nadia Casper, camera Pat O'Neill, and starring, of course, Edith Bliss.
Wow, look at that, I got a hole in one.
Can you believe it? Here I am in Agra, in India. I mean, that's pretty amazing.
Considering you started kissing at 7 or 8, that's a natural progression.
Come on, it don't have to be set up as a young perv. It was a very innocent little peck on the cheek.
Do you ever get stumped for an answer?
It touched my hand, Mr. Foster. It touched my hand.
Don't worry. That's what I call spectacular.
Animal crackers in my soup, monkeys and rabbits loop the loop. Gosh, oh gee, but I have fun swallowing animals one by one.
Go and get your blanket. All right, put your blanket.
They're under status orders. Red lights are on.
Hello and welcome to my Wonderworld. And welcome, incidentally, to the... Why does he always leave just as I arrive?
Hold it. All right, but don't eat it.
I'm going to stop him actually soon from skiing at all because I don't want to hurt him or injure him in any way.
All right, now you can have some more. Now you stop. All right, now you can eat it.
This is... Bye, Woody.
Don't tell me it's a cat.
This is a dog.
What's the dog's name?
Woodrow.
Welcome, actually, to the 400th edition of Wonderworld. We're really pleased because there were days we weren't quite sure if we were going to get to show number 4 100.
Now, let's put our handwriting expert to the test and see what he can tell us about the person who wrote this.
Yes, a very interesting character altogether. A lot of boldness is shown, boldness, determination, not afraid to accept a challenge.
The name of the game is Simon Says, and I'd like for you to play it too. And of course...
Come on, Simon. It's Simon Townsend's Wonder Woman.
And you accepted Simon Townsend.
Keep going, Simon. Come on.
Come on.
He goes back after this break.
The winner, ladies and gentlemen, is Simon Townsend's Wonder World, Network 10.
You know, I think I believed in the words of our theme song even before it was written, years and years ago. And the words are something like this: if you believe anything can happen, if you believe anything is possible, if you believe, dreams are there for those who try. And we tried rather magnificently, I think.
If you believe anything can happen, if you believe anything is possible.
Yep, I agree with him. We did try rather magnificently, and that's it, it's over. I have far too many people to thank in these last few moments, but I must thank Network 10 of Australia, the commercial television network that was unafraid to take on a whole new way of children's programming back in 1979. And 10 always gave me the facilities and the money to make the best kids show that I was capable of. And I must thank you, the viewers, not just the children that we aimed the show at, but everyone else who enjoyed it too. And to all those who ever worked on Wonderworld, your names appear in a moment, all 248 of you. Thank you, everyone. God bless you all, and let me assure you that nothing, absolutely nothing, last show and all, nothing has dimmed my belief that the world really is wonderful. Goodbye.
This has got to be the saddest day of my life. I called you here today for a bit of bad news. I won't be able to see you anymore because of my obligations and the ties that you have. We've been meeting here every day. And since this is our last day together, I want to hold you just one more time. When you turn and walk away, don't look back. I want to remember you just like this. Let's just kiss and say goodbye.
I had to meet you here today. There's just so many things to say. Please don't stop me till I'm through. This is something I hate to do. Many months have passed us by. I'm gonna miss you. I'm gonna miss you. I can't lie. I'm gonna miss you. I've got ties, and so do you. I just think this is the thing to do. I'm gonna miss you, I can't lie. Well, let's kiss and say goodbye, pretty baby. Please, don't you cry. high.